This information provided is for educational purposes and is not intended as medical advice or a substitute for medical advice of a physician or other qualified healthcare professional. You should not use this information for diagnosing a health or fitness problem or disease. You should always consult with a doctor or other healthcare professional for medical advice or information about diagnosis and treatment. Okay. It is a rarity to get to hear Carolyn Mansfield and Dr. Robert Young discuss the evidence and factual data that we have accumulated from doing a small test study of what they call a pre-test, post-test, one group study with 3 test subjects that we have been working on. I don't get dressed up for nothing, right? So everybody usually sees I talk in a t-shirt and get about as normal as it gets. So look at me now, right? All right. So, yeah, to get to be a fly on the wall, everybody, today we're going to let them work through it. Their time is big. And so Carolyn is in the middle of the night. I have called in all favors to get her here. And I have promised her I will not do this to her again. And so with that, what we'll do is I'm sure people here will have questions. And at the end, I don't know how much time Robert Young will have to answer them. Carolyn has told me she's tired and she wants to keep her side as short as possible. And so I expect us to go through those as quickly as that we can. So, you know, Michael Coe, who is the founder of Forest Biotech Nanolabs, and was the chief scientific officer for many years at Kansas State University when I was lucky enough to cross paths with him. It was a big learning curve. I was just a guy using the energy of me and Matt Senna to be able to pull together a dream that we felt could happen. And, you know, he has been in nano formulations. Michael Coe has several patents with peptide wrapping delivery systems, and which is stuff that is in the vaccines. He worked many years with the most leading edge technology to be able to effectively get anything good or bad into the cell. And which we know now, you know, it's a lot more bad than good, but neither here nor there. He explained things to me. He took me under his wing, to put it lightly. He mentored me. He shared with me his entire life's work so that I could somehow pull off what I thought needed to happen. And I don't know if he really believed in me at the beginning at all, but he loved my energy and he loved this lofty pipe dream at the time. He's told me that a few times. And now I've got his testimony waiting to get his approval. And I'm sure that we will get that, where he says the mechanism of action of how this works in terms of what he can test and see with his nanosite spectrometry and all these other things, dynamic light scattering stuff and all that. He says this is the most amazing mechanism of action he's seen in his career. And I think that means something. So, but what's really unique about Robert Young is that Michael Coe has been stuck in a lab talking to other people stuck in a lab, right? And so when he's used to talking to me, he would go straight over my head. And so I would have to tell Matt Senna, like, what does this mean? What does this mean? And Matt would go figure it out and try to tell me. And, you know, what Robert Young has done is tried to be the bridge between that knowledge set and giving people communication that they can hear and discern, and that's digestible and palatable, right? And he has a knack for that. And so that's why watching his videos, he's slower to talk so that people can actually picture it and get it. And it's, you know, so we're as lucky as it gets that he thinks there's something here that's worthy of his time to be able to explain what's hopefully going on here. And I can tell you, just from him looking at the information and what's in front of him, he reiterates and talks the exact same talk as Michael Coe, just with terms that I can, that people can really hear a lot better. So I want to make it real clear here. Dr. Robert Young has not used MasterPeace. He has not expressed to me anything about what his experience with it. He is, from what I've been told, and it does make sense, he appears to be one of the very few people on Earth that have an electron microscope to be able to do the analysis that an electron microscope provides. That where he's not trapped up with billion-dollar corporations that are spending millions with him to do the R&D, where he's not being able to actually use that equipment to be able to further getting the truth and knowledge and what actual real science that's not money driven is actually all about. So he has promised me that he will take plenty of pictures and whatnot. And just like I've been the whole time, just like I've told everybody, we have a study coming out. I really could have sank our ship, right? If I was trying to sell snake oil, right? These findings could have been pretty bad or not good at all. And we would have been looking at, why are we doing this at all, right? So I set the stage the whole time with the results that we were hoping to get. I believe we have Carolyn Mansfield, who is about as incorruptible and as fearless in terms of being a pure humanitarian as it gets, who did the study. The entire time she was going to remain anonymous. She made that real clear. That's why I told everybody that I've talked to, and several people on this phone call, I'm sure, I told everybody that the only person who is going to be able to verify who the person that pulled the study off was me and Carolyn Mansfield. Reason why I told everybody that is because it was Carolyn Mansfield, and that was the reason. Now she realizes that it's not logical, and that it's going to be, it makes a lot more sense for us to get this out in the open. All she did anyways was take people's blood and test them for graphene, the four most common forever chemicals, which were PFOs, PFOAs, PEs, polyethylene, and PPs. So, it's Carolyn that her study will, I believe, underneath the strictest scrutiny, will hold up. It's not a heavy metal test that's provoked, that can be altered by how much DMSA or EDTA someone could take or anything like that. I believe that we have the goods right here. And so, I want to quickly, everybody, anybody new that creates an account, anybody who makes any purchases. So the next time you purchase MasterPeace for yourself, with the purchase email or with the new account email, I'm going to quickly play this video. It's a 4-minute video. I want everybody to hear this video. This is very critical. This is as important as it gets, okay? The things that take down companies with products like ours is making claims. So that's not just me that can't make those claims, or the people doing shows about us, or the inner core team. That is every last person on this call. I know nobody wants to have anything like that hanging over their head. I know I certainly don't. And so what we need to do is we need to speak whenever you are talking to anybody about MasterPeace. What should be talked about is maybe past testimonials of what people feel they experienced from taking it and the outcomes, as well as when we fully support people showing the graphs of this study. I did those numbers. I know they're point for point perfect. And the results of this study in terms of what those test subjects got. But we don't want to tell people anything about what the next person that hasn't taken MasterPeace is going to get out of it, because how would we know, right? It's not like we're going to test the results. We don't want to put ourselves in harm's way like that. So let's do this. Play the video. It's a 4-minute video. As soon as that's over, we're going to pass the baton to Carolyn and Robert so Carolyn can get back to bed, and so that we can get down to the real reason why we're here. So,
hello everyone. First off, thank you for coming aboard, finding human consciousness support and our various products, MasterPeace, Master Restore, and Master Plasma. My name is Matthew Hazen. I'm the CEO and founder. I wanted to send this video out to every new person because we have to go over one very, very important matter. We are a company that is growing exponentially. We feel our products benefit mankind's holistic health and well-being, and we need to be very clear as a unit as to what is appropriate or not when talking about MasterPeace and how it affects people and doesn't. We definitely, from me all the way at the top to everyone else, we don't want to be making claims. Claims gets companies in big trouble real fast. And it's not just me and the inner team that can't make those claims. It's really everybody, because things get twisted and turned all the time. So I wanted to make this video just so that we're all on the same page and we're ultra clear about what that is. We can show people the testimonies that we have. Every Tuesday on our Facebook page, and I know on Instagram as well too, we show, it's called Testimonial Tuesday. And that's where people can read what other people's experience and testimonials were. We can certainly talk about the study that we backed and had Carolyn Mansfield do, which we took the blood work of 3 test subjects. We tested that blood for graphene oxide, for PFOs, PFOAs, PEs, and PPs, which are 4 of the more common forever chemicals. And we put them on a protocol of MasterPeace, the normal dosing, which was 5 drops twice a day, as well as FLFE, which is Focus Life Force Energy. I should think anybody should go on flfe.net and sign up for their 15-day free trial. Our link is in our website, and we can find it, we'll provide that to you. That is only $36 a month if you choose to keep the service after the 15 days. That was a part of the protocol. And then we used powdered zeolite for the last 2 weeks only. And that was only, and so it wasn't the full Master Restore, which has a fulvic acid component in it to make it work. We feel better. And so what we did, and coincidentally, out of the 3 test subjects, which were 60, 61, and 62 years old, the person who had the most significant decrease in the graphene oxide and the 4 common forever chemicals happened to be the one that only took MasterPeace. So that being said, that's worth noting. So speaking about the exact details of the study, or people getting the study, we're going to make it available to everyone to show. That is completely good, and we back that and support that, as well as people talking about their prior experiences and what their testimony, their exact testimony is. We don't want to bridge into the future. There's no way that any of us would know exactly what's going to happen to the next person who hasn't taken MasterPeace, for instance. So we can't say, oh, you're going to dream clearer, take this, and we can't say, oh, your emotional state of being is going to go up and you're just going to feel better all the time. Any of those type of comments are going to be purported and seen as claims, and any video content that we have produced up to this point, we will be scouring through and removing, so it will no longer be there. We don't want any entity or any group out there to say that we are making claims. Claims is what gets companies in a bad spot. We don't want to be there. We don't want to be there. I know that you don't want to be the reason why we're there. I know I don't want to be the reason why we're there. And we're a team. We're a family on this, right? We've all been looking for something great to surround ourselves, our time, energy, and focus with, and help steward out to our fellow man and woman. That's what it's all about here, right? So something that's going to raise the consciousness and help all of us live better lives, our communities be better. So we just got to be on the same page with this. And I just wanted to say, once again, welcome aboard. Thank you for putting your precious time, energy, and focus into human consciousness support and our mission. And talk to you soon.
I'm going to turn the call over to Carolyn Mansfield. Let's move sharing over to her, Matt, and Robert Young then, if he needs to, for any reason, share, and we'll have them go through what this cellular toxin study found out about what is capable and not, at least with these 3 test subjects, on removing all these microscopic things. So awesome.
Okay, so I'll just go straight in and share. Good evening, everybody. Well, it's good evening from London right now. But okay, so at the beginning of November, we started a study, which is a simple pre-test, post-test study with 3 test subjects, because we wanted to be able to prove that MasterPeace was doing what it says it was doing, which was pulling out these forever chemicals and these plastics. And we also chose a lab because it specifically tested for graphene oxide. So the lab that was used is a world-renowned lab that specializes in environmental medicine and epigenetics. So we started the test with MasterPeace, and the test subjects were taking 5 drops of MasterPeace twice a day. And halfway through the study, as Matt said, then we introduced the Master Restore zeolite powder, but without the fulvic acid. And we really didn't know what to expect, but Matt wanted to test at the 35-day mark. I had advised him that we should actually maybe wait until some 2 to 3 months, because that would be the usual, time when we're looking at specifically heavy metals. We have actually done a heavy metal test, and we're still waiting for those results, which is a separate test, which we'll bring that out when that comes. But anyway, we decided to, just before Christmas, call in the test subjects again and have their blood taken and see what effect MasterPeace was having on all the test subjects. So for those of you who are more visual, we've got this amazing graph where you can see the before and after levels had completely come down in all categories. So the first test subject levels came down by 61% across the board, the second by 51%, and the third by 60%, which is very, very significant. So let me just delve into each test subject's results.
Hey, Carolyn.
Yes.
How did we get the baseline, the beginning numbers? Was this at your analysis test where it can be provoked with different DMSA, or was it blood work that we did? That's kind of what it's important to point out.
Okay, so no, this was not using any provocation agent. That's with the heavy metal test. So this test is a cellular toxicity test by the lymphocytes. The unit uses nanomoles per liter. And so it's basically a blood draw. Now, when we look at test subject 1, the graphene was very, very high. This was a vaccinated individual whose graphene was at 509. And both his forever chemicals were in the high range. And the plastics, polyethylene and polypropylene, put down as borderline. After 35 days, this test subject's graphene oxide came down to 53, which is highly significant. The 2 forever chemicals came down from high to borderline, and the 2 plastics came down from, they were at borderline, now down to what's considered tolerable. But even that's questionable, to be honest, to have any of these inside of our body. Test subject 2, the graphene oxide was very high, 509. This was an unvaccinated test subject. One of the
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Carolyn. This person was non-vaccinated, but their graphene levels was as high as the last person's.
Exactly. Yeah, which was interesting to note, right?
May I interject for one moment, Carolyn? I'm sorry. When you say not unvaccinated, do you mean all of their life or just from the recent ones?
Oh, no, I'm talking about the recent ones.
Thank you.
Yeah. And where are we? So one of the forever chemicals was very high. The other borderline, polyethylene on this subject, was in the tolerable range, and very high in the polypropylene, which would talk about the different compounds and where they're coming from in the environment. Now this test subject's, her graphene oxide came down to 225. So it wasn't as significant as the first test subject, but huge, that halved. Obviously you can see that everything else came down as well, the forever chemicals and the plastics. You can see we added in a few other compounds on the second round test because we wanted to test a few other markers.
I'm so sorry to interject on you, Carolyn. I don't mean to break your rhythm. Robert Young, what is the reason why a lab would deem these levels like tolerable, borderline, high, very high, if these unnatural things start causing problems from the second that there's any of them in our body? Why do they have it tiered off like that? What does that mean?
They tear it off based upon the amount that it would take in order to induce death, and generally these are calculated off animal tests, and then they equate these out to humans. But the numbers as it relates to being tolerable, I would say tolerable on aluminum oxide would be 0. And that's the case with any heavy metals or phosgene, which is a neurotoxin and a biochemical war chemical that was used in World War I. Phosgene, the only transfection idea I have for that is either in the water or in the air. They should have 0 phosgene. Phosgene is a byproduct of a chemical they use for cleaning the rods in atomic plants, and it's called vilinidine dichloride, and there should be none of that in this. So it's quite concerning. I asked Matt if he would include that. Apparently they didn't add the vilinidine dichloride. Of course, that would have been nice to have the precursor to phosgene, but it's adequate enough to give us the idea that we're being exposed to a variety of different compounds, which the tolerable level would be in all cases would be 0. So the LD, they base it on LD, which is lethal dose. So anything high tolerable would be a lethal dose that could cause injury or death.
Okay.
So here again, they would have to give you those numbers, what the LD is on these particular compounds. And I'm sure they'll provide that. But I think that's a number other than just generally stating tolerable or moderate, here again, borderline tolerable, and high is I think general, just for the general populace. But when we're looking at numbers like this, we would compare it to the lethal dose, the LD.
Wow. And on the chart, like where we're looking at test subject 2 right now, and there's 10 columns. The reason why there's 10 columns in some of the tests and then there's only 5 in the others is because at the beginning, we only took the graphene oxide and PFOs, PFAs, PEs, and PPs, PFOAs, I apologize. And when I made contact with Robert Young, made him aware that there was a study going on, he gave me insight and guidance on different other chemicals that would probably be very relevant and important to be able to get testing on. and things like iron. I know there was something like ferric oxide, I believe you had told me. So there was different things that the lab didn't exactly test for, although they do test for over 500 different types of uh, things that are all not good for you. But the reason why some of these are 10 and some of these are 5 is because the ones with 5 different things that we're testing for was the pre-test results. So the ones that we're looking at, for instance, on the screen right now is a post-test result. And so, okay.
Mhm. So yeah, you don't have the before, you have the after on a few of these numbers, such as the phosgene. Phosgene is a byproduct of when you burn vilinidine dichloride, here again, which is a biological weapon of war. It was outlawed internationally during World War I. It killed tens of thousands of people. So it's not something you want to be finding inside the body. And the tolerance level for phosgene is not, I mean, here again, 62.39 is very, very concerning. I would not call that tolerable.
Okay.
So it's, here again, labs will give information based upon their understanding. There's a couple of other things I would have added in future studies, such as glyphosate, which is a biological chemical that is used as a pesticide, which is showing up in our foods, which is, here again, the levels are should be 0 on that, but I'm sure that most people are dealing with glyphosate. The reason for the graphene oxide is because that should be 0. We should find no graphene oxide inside the human body. If it's in the human body, then we have to question. And the only reason we now know the graphene oxide was one of the main undisclosed ingredients in the Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson and Johnson, and AstraZeneca, but they're putting it in everything now. It is the platform by which they hack humans and animals, and literally taking over their consciousness. It is a material that is light. It is a material that is 100 times stronger than steel. It is a material that is cytotoxic, a known cytotoxin, a known genotoxin, and it is also known as a conductor, can receive and conduct electricity, energy. So it can receive and transmit. So this is what piqued my interest. And of course, as Matt was explaining the formulation, and as we were talking about that, a reduced form of the main ingredient. Well, the main ingredient is marine plasma, but the nanotechnology, that main ingredient, I don't know if you want to disclose that or not. Maybe
No, you're
you
okay.
all know. Yeah, that ingredient in a reduced form, acting as a chelator or a magnet, you might say, to magnesium oxide, which holds a surface charge which is positive. So it will attract to graphene will attract to this product. It'll attract to it, and once it connects, excuse me, once it's connected, it nullifies its conductivity, its ability to receive or transmit. So it makes it inert. It doesn't destroy it. That's a funny idea that EDTA will break down and destroy graphene. That's literally a false statement. You cannot destroy this material. You can pull it and push it. You can try to collect it somehow, and that's why using a reduced form or the opposite polarity of graphene, which is negatively charged, is the best way to go, and that's why I've favored many of the montmorillonite clays, which also carry a high surface charge. So this fits right in. The nice thing about this is we're dealing with nanotechnology, which is graphene quantum nanodots. This product that's been developed is perfect for dealing at that nano level. So
Awesome.
the other part of that graphene oxide is its cousin ferric oxide, and that was also found in all of the vaccines. They're putting ferric oxide and graphene oxide as two of the major components contained in the capsid, the kind of like the carrier, what the delivery truck. The delivery truck is the hydrogel. They call it a lipid nano particle, or and this nanolipid particle contains, we found, based on using electron transmission electron microscopy, that the hydrogel was 95 to 98% graphene.
Wow.
So when they're talking about these vaccines as genetic material, nucleic acids of RNA or DNA, that's all a smokescreen. There's hardly any RNA or DNA in any of these vaccines. These are tagged with genetic material, either of animal or human source, but that's only for tagging purposes, is to give instructions to the nanolipid capsid, the hydrogel, instructions on where it should go, so that it's a directed bioweapon. So they can deliver the entire package to the ovaries, or they can deliver the entire package to the thyroid. All you have to do is tag the genetic nucleic acids of those particular organs or glands to drive the hydrogel that contains the graphene. A better name for these vaccines are graphene, or graphene oxide, or I call the words I use is graphinated hydrogel. These are
Right.
graphinated hydrogel inoculations. The purpose is to tag everyone, and the outcome is to destroy a woman's ability to reproduce. It's also, their purpose is to destroy the endocrine system and confuse you about your sexuality. You see, and so when you destroy the endocrine system, when you destroy these glands, this is the outcome, is to reduce the surplus population. So what this is doing then, this nanotechnology, in opposite to an oxide, is a reduced form. Okay. And this reduced form carries a negative charge, which then negates, cancels, and eliminates the activity of that graphene oxide that's been introduced. And you want to provide an environment that's conducive to neutralize it. So the intention of this inoculation was to create cell membrane deterioration or degeneration. I perceive, based upon the results of these tests, that is canceled, not disrupted, canceled. So further study needs to go on as far as what happens in 60 or 70 days, what happens in 90 days. If you operate a principle which I promote, which is less is more and more is less, and less more often is better than more less often. It's been said, based on the study, that 5 drops under the tongue was given once a day.
Twice a day.
Okay. Twice a day. So is 2 drops taken 4 to 5 times a day better than taking 5 drops 2 times a day? The answer is absolutely yes. It's not about quantity, it's about frequency. It's about less is more and more is less, and less more often is better than more less often. So people are going to have the intention initially, because they think more is better, is to start taking this product frequently, and more of it. If I take more, will I get better faster? Or if I take 10 drops rather than 5 drops, it doesn't work. The technology doesn't work that way. Nanotechnology works under the principle of tiny, small, permeable, something that will pass through blood barriers, like the brain, a barrier for the reproductive organs. How is this stuff getting into the ovaries and destroying the ovaries of a woman? It passes right through. There's nothing to stop it. Once there's graphene there, and you turn on your cell phone, it lights up and it starts self-assembling. And then eventually you have ovarian cancer, turbo cancer, or it has gone into the pancreas, affecting, the insulin producing beta cells. They're not functioning anymore. Why? Same reason. They're not using a lot of graphene, but the capability of that to self-assemble is real, and that's what I've been taking pictures of. I can assure you with this last statement, I can assure you that you cannot assume that you have not been graphinated. You have to assume that everyone on the planet, I think there's 9 billion of us, have all been graphinated. The key to the activation is energy, life force. And what activates this stuff doesn't matter the generation, because I did my first work and testing on 2G, 1998, published in a peer-reviewed journal. The effects of electromagnetic fields on the human biofield and its effect on the cell membranes. Professor at the Berkeley University of California published my work in this paper, showing the evidence, and I was totally blinded from this, that EMF by itself can destroy the cell membrane. They've now doubled down on this with ferric oxide and graphene oxide. And there's other chemicals, the forever chemicals that you mentioned here, that just pollute the environment, reduce the pH and the ORP within the body fluids, and just make this whole mess a lot easier for them. As it relates to not just controlling people, but reducing the surplus population of Henry Kissinger's quote, "useless eaters," close quote. So these are the elements, but I'll guarantee you that there's probably another few hundred that we could add.
Yeah.
But these are the most important, the most significant thing that we would be shocked if we saw. And I am shocked, not anymore though, that graphene is in everyone. And one of the carriers happens to be Trypanosoma cruzi parasites, as well as malaria parasites. So the mosquitoes are carriers of graphene. You get bit by a mosquito, you are delivered. PCR paper, condoms are now in question. sanitation, female sanitation
Mm.
are loaded with this stuff, this technology. That's an entry point. So you cannot trust any of this coming from those who own and who've purchased and are controlling our food, our water, and our skies. So there's no shock here about what we found here. But when I first saw it, I mean, I was thinking East Palestine. You know, remember when they burned what they said was vinyl chloride? They lied. It was vilinidine dichloride. Huge difference. Huge difference. That's an international problem. You know, that's supposed to be buried away, never to be used again. Finding phosgene in the blood in UK is alarming.
Yeah, these three test subjects were in the United Kingdom, which is well away from America. It's a whole ocean away, right? So,
Right. Could you imagine what these tests would show if we started testing people moving from East Palestine, east and north and south? I mean, they'd all be affected and poisoned by these chemicals. To top it off, the graphene. You cannot survive these chemicals, especially when they interact with your cell phone, interact with your smart TV, interact with your smart meters. All this technology needs to be disconnected to a lesser or greater degree.
Totally. I totally don't mean to interrupt you, by the way. Real quick before Carolyn starts again, just to interject. The graphene oxide and I believe the polyethylene. So inside of the body, polyethylene is the main part or big part of the hydrogel, I believe. And so
they use that interchangeably, polyethylene glycol, as the lipid membrane or the lipid capsule. It's a capsule. They're using that capsule, and I've taken pictures of it and identified it, and it's loaded with graphene and other elements to a lesser degree, but primarily graphene oxide specifically. And it's being carried into the body in a capsule of PEG. That's why everyone is going to show polyethylene, whether you're breathing it in, you went on an international flight or a local flight airline, and they ran it through the air system.
So the polyethylene and the graphene oxide are the bigger components of the communication system and the replication system that they're using for the EMF or satellite or wherever it's coming from to be able to communicate and basically use the body as a host and communication system. So obviously, graphene oxide not being able to be broken down per se, you can't destroy it. You can only remove it, push it around, push it out of the body. To be able to remove and reduce the graphene oxide and polyethylene is a pretty good way to stop and destroy the communication system that they're trying to create in people with. I know there's MAC ID addresses and whatnot, but basically getting these results, these blood results showing graphene oxide and polyethylene being reduced, what some would say significantly in 35 days is a hopeful sign.
I think you're being conservative when you say that, a hopeful sign. I think it's I think it's a lot more significant than that. This would blow a hole in their objectives as it relates to what they want to achieve in 2024, which is a little over excess mortality, all cause excess mortality around 1.2 to 1.3 billion people in the next 12 months. Now, that can happen a lot faster depending on how they cook us, because this is exactly what 5G feels like. 5G feels like you're for a woman that she's experiencing a urinary tract infection. Like, it'll be with women maybe have never had a UTI, but that's what it does. It boils your blood. It destroys your blood. And so for a woman, they are very sensitive to this. In fact, I believe women are the target.
Yeah.
I mean, the men will just fall over dead after, but they want to destroy the ability of a man and a woman. They're putting enmity between us. They're putting an enemy between us. And this is not just affecting them physically, it's affecting them emotionally. So women aren't acting like they normally act. Men aren't either. But women are more sensitive. They have more connective points, sensors, 7 times more connected in their brain. But once they're hacked and they're connected to the Internet of Brains, that means they can start getting ideas that really aren't their own. And there's a lot of disconnection that's taking place between men and women. And so this is what the capability of this technology has. They want to destroy our ability to reproduce ourselves. And on top of that, to be able to lower the excessive population, and then the balance of whoever survives this to be able to control those people. It's transhumanism. It's AI at its greatest. And the technology has proved out that it's been activated and is functioning. So it's not polyethylene glycol. That's a sideshow. The star is of this show. That's why they don't even speak the words. And anybody that speaks them is censored, or attacked, or arrested, or worse. You see? But they've crossed the line. So, I mean, for me, I take my orders from on high. I don't take my orders from Washington, D.C. or from the district attorney in San Diego. And so the key here, and why I'm so grateful to share this with others, this good news, is that if we can reduce graphene oxide as the 2D platform that is assembling in clusters, what you see is an effect behind me. It's an electron scanning micrograph of a red blood cell that's spiked. That happens when you radiate something. Okay, and that's coming from the EMF. But here again, the connection to specific organs and glands is that connection with the graphene. So having reduced this and documenting this by a third-party lab, of which I have no connection with whatsoever. So in full disclosure, I don't even know who this company is that did this, other than the fact that, I recognize the numbers. I can check this myself to verify using dispersive, spectroscopy, X-ray spectroscopy. So I can check this information, but I already have this information and I already know what's in these waters, in these foods, what's in the air, because we've done this work. So I'm not shocked. The only thing I'm shocked about, if I'm shocked at all, is what and how did 3 people, I think, are they related or unrelated?
Unrelated.
3 unrelated people end up with phosgene in their blood. I mean, did they travel to the United States? Were they somewhere in the northeastern part of the United States? Any of these 3?
I know 2 weren't. I can ask the third one. I don't think so.
Yeah, 2 out of 3. I mean,
I don't think even the third one's been there, but I will check.
So granted, more research needs to be done. I would call upon those who have the resources to fund more research to make a generous contribution to Matt and his team in order for us to continue what needs to be done to verify and validate the efficacy of a simple product, not simple to make. Sounds simple when you talk about the ingredients, but not simple to make. That's not being disclosed. That is a trade secret. Don't ask. Okay? We're not telling. The bottom line is we're looking for results. We'll share the results. Okay? And the results is not just going to be black and white. The results are going to be, that ringing in your ear, that imbalance that you may be feeling emotionally, that's excess stress. It may be simple things just like that to something maybe even greater. All of a sudden, those who have maybe a serious stage 7 level acidosis of a cancerous condition may benefit. Can't say they will or won't. All I can say is, based on the numbers, if you take out the problem, and the problem is just not graphene, it's also parasitical. So it's a multifaceted challenge. Graphene being the worst of it, phosgene being even worse than graphene, other than the fact it's not communicating. I mean, I don't know if you gave your permission to be connected to the Internet of Things and to the Internet of Brains, or to Tesla's company, the brain connection. Here, what's that? Neuralink, yes. So these are concerning times. So let me turn it back to Caroline. She can go on. I think hopefully I've answered, or at least if I've answered some of your questions, maybe I've created more. We can talk about that here in a moment.
For people to be able to test themselves to see if they have graphene in them is very difficult, because I phoned around every lab in the UK and nobody tests for it. And the reason being is they would say that, well, why would we test for that? It's not in the human body. So no one can really test. We can test for heavy metals, but this is something that people are told isn't there.
2 out of, if I can just back you up just a hair, Carolyn, just so people are aware. So there was 3 test subjects. Two of the 3 test subjects took micronized zeolite, not our exact Master Restore product. It was the same zeolite that we put in our Master Restore product, but it didn't have the fulvic acid. Now, they only took that, 2 of the 3, for the last 2 weeks of the 35 days. But the 1 test subject, which was the first one on the study, that only took MasterPeace and the FLFE protocol, that person got a 90% remediation. Now, I want everybody to just have this context. you're talking about people who have been alive for over 720 months. So 720 plus months, that's a long time. And in just over 1 month of taking the standard dose of MasterPeace along with the FLFE, her blood levels then showed a reduction of 90% when you're talking about graphene oxide and the polyethylene, which, as I believe Dr. Robert Young's study showed, was two of the main things that they found in the graphene, the vaccine ingredients or whatnot. So the two main things that is inside the body communicating, we showed that MasterPeace by itself, at least when it comes to that one test subject, was removed by 90%. And that is incredible.
It was just mind blowing, actually. We didn't expect that, did we?
No, of course not. We were really just hoping that we could prove that we could get it out faster than it was coming in, because we know that we're kind of in a real dense nutrient, like it's a real dense cesspool of nutrientless air and world that we live in. It's obviously, you know, so just to be able to, we were just hoping for the news that we could get it out faster than it was coming in. So yeah.
Well, just if we just quickly finish up with this one.
Yeah.
Test subject 3, he took the COVID shot, AstraZeneca, 2 shots, and he had borderline graphene as his baseline, interestingly. And he had very high on the forever chemicals and high and a borderline on his plastics. Now when we go to his follow-up blood test, the post-trial, his graphene didn't shift. So he was still in the borderline range. So that was an interesting one. But everything else came significantly down as far as the forever chemicals and the plastics. So when we go on to do the testing again, it would be so interesting to see how his levels are.
Yeah.
At 2 or 3 months, whatever we're going to do. I think we're going to leave it for 3 months, aren't we?
Yes, and so we're just to be clear, the study is right now is ongoing. That is a big reason why we're not disclose. That is, for the most part, the only reason, right, that we're not disclosing the exact lab. We're obviously doing some work. You know, there's places out there that's not for us getting these type of results, and we don't want to rock the ship or take chances unneedingly. And so with the study being ongoing, if the study was over, then it would be fair game for anybody trying to change the world, right? So right now that person who didn't have the reduction in the graphene oxide levels, the third test subject, to say, well, you know, if there's graphene that's getting into our bodies, whether we're vaccinated or not or any of that, then for it not to shift, that's not a bad sign. That says, hey, at least it didn't shift. But the other things, they actually came down enough that, when we actually did the totals of the 5 things that we tested for and then looked at, and I guess we can go back to the graph, that third test subject still reduced their overall accumulation of the tested forever chemicals and graphene oxide 60%.
Yeah, he had the highest level for the plastics and for the forever chemicals and the plastics. Yeah, both of them.
When we're looking at testing for graphene and then the 4 different common forever chemicals, we're literally talking about a lot of stuff that does not belong in the body. We know it has to disrupt the normal functioning of the body. But all 3 test subjects right here, they all had a pretty similar reduction overall. If you take all of them, you add up the numbers, and then you add up the numbers of after 35 days of protocol, then it's the same phlebotomist directed by you, taking blood the same way, sending it to the same lab to get these same type of study procedure results. And everybody dropped within 10% of each other the same amount of levels. And that really shows kind of like zeolite, which the studies that are on PubMed that we can look at, and there's over 8,000 of them, show that it's really good at remediating or magnetically finding, binding, and escorting out things, whether it's in a human body or not. And it's really neat because it looks like all three people did claim that they took the protocol correct, the right way, at least in terms of MasterPeace. And we know the FLFE was on them because you turned on their FLFE while they were in the office, correct?
I turned on their FLFE for all of them. Yeah. So I was in control of it.
So okay. So you know that you got them set up with that EMF mitigation to stall and basically neuter at least the electromagnetic component. And then they all kind of came down the same, like all their levels. It's like a pretty good indicator of like, no matter who, I like that. That's a pretty good sign.
Actually, one of the test subjects absolutely loves the FLFE. He feels there's a huge change in his life, positivity and serendipity. And he just says things have become more joyful. And let me just give you some feedback. So test subject 1, who had the greatest results with the graphene oxide, that is, she said she's sleeping a lot better. She's had trouble sleeping for years. She says she's sleeping longer now. She's less tired and more bubbly. Test subject 2 said her intuition has skyrocketed. Like when she's making decisions, she feels ahead of time. She's able to intuitively work out what she needs to do and not do. And the test subject 3 says his consciousness awareness has increased significantly, his joy for life, and also his cognition. And he's actually a very well-known musician. So, he has he's a really excellent musician. So for him to say that cognitively he's found an improvement is quite significant. Yeah.
I think that's incredible. You're literally saying the things that, woo-woo people or people that are on, I call them woo-woo, but, they've said for a long time that they've tried to remove our connection to everything with blocking our pineal gland. And there's different things like, just turning off kind of our spiritual switch. And so when people are saying, I feel more conscious, I feel more connected, all the things that they're relaying right there, their emotional well-being, which has everything to do with the science of consciousness. And, if someone's mood in the moment is heightened or increased, raises, doesn't that change the world? They think they're doing better, and that's all that counts, right?
I feel the same. I'm taking MasterPeace. I feel that connection myself. I do. I feel there's a clarity there significantly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, did I stop the screen share for now, or?
Yeah. We yeah, absolutely. So I know that Robert is so busy. We're lucky. None of us at Human Consciousness Support have any type of personal relationship with him. The only reason why he probably took my call is because I said, Carolyn Mansfield said I should probably reach out to you because you knew of his work. Or maybe, I can't remember how it went, but I know I reached out to him and he didn't really have time. He's busy. And I said, hey, just let me send you these pre-test results. And when we get the final ones, then you can decide if this is something that you want to talk about or whatnot. And just to get him to, talk about these results and what it means and how hopeful it sounds like he is from them, of what the implications for mankind can be, is very emotional. I'm sure when I watch this again, I'm going to be like, so what we're going to do at Human Consciousness Support is stay our path and see how this can change and help benefit people's lives and their day-to-day living, and see if that begins a much needed shift and raising our consciousness, right? So
Matthew?
Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Hi. I just wanted to mention that we're going to be continuing this discussion on the new health paradigm calls too, especially this Sunday. So there'll be people that are going to be on those calls that are not here tonight, but I do see a lot of people right now that generally go to those calls. So we're going to have a lot of more discussion about this, as well as how we move forward. You know, this is an important kind of just really groundbreaking study with this kind of information, and how do we move forward with it, as well as other really critical things that we need to know how to move forward so we can get the best health possible. So for added support in the general health, and also with this particular study, getting more information, we'll be doing that for probably a long time, not just this Sunday, but for sure this Sunday we'll be scheduling that on the agenda.
Yeah, and we should really be clear that health is a holistic approach, guys. You know, just because your body, look how many gym rats there are that have great bodies, but you know, are not the kind of emotional people and all that you would really. So this is a groundbreaking thing, but that means it's a foundational thing, right? We know that we got to get the toxins out, the things that don't belong, in order so that our physical body has the ability to get better, and maybe we have a little more fluid with being able to work on our emotional trauma, which has everything to do with our well-being and our attitudes, our emotional state of being, and then move into a whole holistic thing. So I know that that is a territory that Nikki, aka Terry, can navigate through a lot better than I can. But that's, you know, I just think that we should all know, like, this kind of sets the stage so that the other things that are involved with us truly being healthy and our well-being going up can then start to happen and be implicated into our lives a lot better. Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of results on today that we didn't go over just because it's pretty big deal. And we'll have time to unpack a lot more of that with Nikki on that show. If anybody's on this call that was brought in as a guest and you don't, and you won't, the way that you're going to get the link for the show is through our email list. The only way you get bugged, the only catch to signing up with human consciousness support is that you may get an email before the show telling you that the show's going to go on in case you wanted to watch it. And so yeah, that's kind of I would watch for that link. If you haven't got signed up, whoever brought you here today, get there a link, because you really can't access our website or do something like order and let you know. We don't pay Walmart to stock this stuff. We pay the people who are spreading the word about it, which is everybody here and more. And so we want to, you know, go on there for find out who got you here, get their affiliate links so that you can sign up, and then you'll get the email, and that'll be easy for you that way. We do have a live call with Dr. Carrie Madej tomorrow, and I believe Matt has put in the thread for that. We did, I'm going to say it, we did, when we first got the results, I have been in constant contact with Dr. Carrie Madej. She's amazing. And I wanted to share the results with her. I know she had been through a lot, and she has worked diligently with the technology, her dark field microscopy and all of her work. And so we have shared those results with her. And we are going to, she is doing a special call, I believe, tomorrow. She doesn't normally do Thursday calls, and we're going to go on there. And if you guys want to go on there and get some questions answered to Carrie, but I don't know if there's anything else. Sorry, Carolyn, I didn't mean to take this over, but
Well,
yeah, take it up.
I was just going to say it's late here. So are you okay if I shoot off the call and leave you guys to chat?
Absolutely, but
Before
you
you
got to do.
before you go, Caroline,
Yes.
may I say I'm grateful that for the work that you've done and are doing, and for your thoroughness in your preparations, and uh, I just congratulate you for that. And I know you're going to be doing a lot more great things. So keep up the work with what you're doing there in the UK and helping those folks in that part of the world. And I'm grateful to have the association with you. So I just wanted to thank you.
Well, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Dr. Robert Young, I want to share with everybody real quickly. Carolyn Mansfield was working for free, volunteering at a COVID vaccine injury clinic. And her and coworkers were trying to wrap their brain around what they were seeing with the live blood analysis and whatnot. And many phone calls, very long phone calls, went into what we thought would be the best protocol in remediating these weird anomalies that they were seeing in the blood, because at that point we had never tested to really confirm if like we can test for graphene per se or something like that, right? We were in unforged territory, right? So she literally worked with me just to help mankind. She did this entire study risking her neck. We didn't know, we knew graphene's a touchy word, and she did all of this. She didn't get paid anything to do this. She did this just to get this knowledge, this information accumulated so that we could get it out. And we expected to have to do everything from finessing the dosing. We didn't expect these kind of great results from the beginning, but deservedly so. Carolyn is one of my heroes. She for what she has pulled off here, and
This has been a team effort, Matt. Like everyone's played their part in getting this to where we've got with these tests. But I appreciate your words as well. But just to clarify that, when I was working at the vaccine injury clinic, I was paid. It was paid work.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it wasn't.
And also, as far as the live blood analysis was concerned, there was already a set protocol as to specific anomalies that we were looking in the blood, especially to do with the microclotting. That wasn't mine. There was already that set up. So I just want to clarify that, because there are specifics to look at, with the blood, with the vaccinated. And I got quite sick actually working within that clinic. So I've pulled away from that, because when you're working with these people who have taken these shots that have affected them so badly, I do believe that there was different batches, and there is this transfection going on. So working in confined spaces with these people wasn't really a great idea. But anyway, I just wanted to clarify that.
So if something was able to, a remediation protocol was able to effectively remove or at least highly significantly remediate the graphene and the components of the hydrogel, is that in a way with their plans of connecting us to the internet, the human internet of things? I mean, does it add up?
And the tens of thousands of published research, their plan that they propose, which is disguised under cancer therapies, diabetic therapies, when they talk about the quantum effects of graphene, is their language is, and you can read the last article, last 2 or 3 articles to pick up on this if you want to just bring that up, or if you want to share, I can show you if you want to see some of those articles.
So this is a a pretty good thing that we have stumbled and kind of formed and harmonized and brought into.
I don't think you were stumbling. I think you were directed. I don't see any stumbling here. I think it happened line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little. And when you look back on it, you're amazed at what happened. But the power of the Almighty was with you and directing you. I want to bring your attention to this article: graphene quantum dots are a time bomb, multi-scale toxicology. One of the first significant articles that were published on graphene was before the pandemic, April 2019. I have that study there for you. I have one in 2021 and I have one in 2023. The study that I do include in this for people, because I want people to have this information. Can you see what I'm seeing? Graphene quantum dots. Yeah. Recently, multi-scale toxicology study was performed on quantum dots. Do you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. This is the study. Read what's in yellow here. It will tell you everything. Now, this is after the fact. This is in April of 2023. So I'm starting and now going back. So we go back to the next one, to the next study, which is toxicity of quantum dots on target organs and immune systems. Targeted bioweapons, specifically directed at specific organs to achieve the goal. The goal was reduce the ability of reproduction, take control of the human mind, and reduce the excess population. These are quantum dots targeting, specifically wrapped in hydrogel, specifically coated in specific nucleic acids for specific glands and organs. Once it was injected, that poison went to the reproductive organs, or it went to the heart, or it went to the brain. Now, this is science, not scientism, that I've been involved in for close to 30 plus years. I have been directing vitamins, minerals, herbs, and cell salts with specific combinations, tagging them with nucleic acids from specific, let's say if it's kidney cells, and the nucleic acids to drive those vitamins and minerals, herbs to the kidneys. Using radioactive isotopes, we track it. We know it goes to the kidneys. They know this. They know if they inoculate you with this technology, depending on the lot number, they know this is going to go to the heart, or this is going to go to the brain. So this is a targeted protocol. This is in August, yes? April of 2021, 2 years earlier. Very important research paper. These are the conclusions of nanoquantum dots you can spend some time with. And this is the quantum dots organizing into, they build these antennas, these ribbons. This is in live blood. You can watch the video. It's on it's on Rumble.
Wow.
Here is one that's going to knock your socks off, where you can actually see these proteins and the alphabet that they marked it with. It's actually spliced in. And you can see this live in real time. So here we've got foreign coded DNA fragments. Where are they coming from? Air, water, food, foreign. Anything foreign. What happens with a person who gets a liver transplant? That's foreign. What happens if they don't protect that organ?
They die.
The body attacks it. It's foreign. Anything foreign, the body gets rid of, tries to get rid of. This is foreign. This will show you some of the self-assembly here. Here we see the hydrogel and the graphination coming out with these this is if here again I can put another picture up dated many years back. They knew about this. This is in live blood. Live blood. Energy harvesting with graphene oxide. The graphene sucks life force out of the blood, out of other people, and uses that to create this technology. So here it is. Published research, Science Direct, energy harvesting, hooking humans to the W body antenna network. This is real, folks.
Wow.
So this is why you have to wake up people that have been put to sleep about this subject. This has been going on for decades. When was the date on that particular article?
Is it 2019?
2019. Was this a planned pandemic? Absolutely. I mean, that's a very long technical article. You can't read it. I mean, you could read it in 30 to 40 minutes, but you have to study it.
I watched that
Dr.
video right there, Dr. Robert. That
Yes.
video right there is a very long video. It's the first video, as long as it is, that I watched, thankfully, the other night in the middle of the night. That is amazing. The evidence that the anecdotal stuff that Anders, I believe, put together. And
Yeah,
that
well,
that
Matt,
was incredible.
yeah, Matt, I listened to you, I heard you, and so I took this picture and I put the 4-minute video up. I took it. Okay, the long one is right here. I put up a new picture. Because I knew I knew you had pointed out a problem, because this right here is 4 minutes. That's it. Once you see this 4-minute video, if this doesn't affect you, then you're gone. You're gone. This has been seen by 500 to 600 million people. This one video.
It was incredible what you put together. The people in there I have not seen in any videos before, but
well, you'll see them in this documentary. It's a 4-minute documentary, and this Dr. Astrid and Pascal, we've done several things together. We need to do more. We could have gone on for 5, 6, 10 hours. I mean, she didn't want to get off. She wanted to ask me more and more questions, and I wanted to answer that. I said, we need to stop. We're already 2 hours and 35 minutes into this.
Yeah.
So
what I really want. Oh, go ahead. Apologize.
I was going to say, you have to decide how much of this you want to understand. I believe if you understand the problem, you can come up with ideas for solutions to these pollutions. And that's what you've done. And that's why I'm here speaking to you.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm looking to benefit in any other way than to empower people to take back their bodies and take their sovereign rights back and control over that. It's your body. It's your life. It should be your choice. And people have given up on that. This is what's going on, folks. Humans have now been hacked. all of humanity has been hacked to a lesser or greater degree. Your cell phone is not your friend. I'm sorry. This is what you need to social distance yourself from. Your
Right.
cell phone's not your friend. It is now an enemy to humanity. It's connected to cell towers and satellites, the cloud, and everything you think, everything you do is recorded. Everything. Google only gives you a sneak on what's going on. Once a month, they'll send you a little thing. Would you like to know where you've been and what you've been doing for the last 30 days? My heavens. They've been following me around.
Yeah.
That's because you carry one of these. But you don't need this anymore. They can do this. And women are more sensitive to this than men. So I say that because there's 700 symptoms from this. 700 symptoms. I can't put them on a page. It's impossible to put everything that's happening. If you've got a sore, if you've got a bump, here again, that's chemical amplified by radiation poisoning. This is the reality. If you want to kind of, let's say, put an analogy or a metaphor, or look, what would that be like? Being exposed to 4 and 5G is like smoking 100 cigarettes every single day of your life.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
So here's a little introduction to Pascal. Somebody says, well, why did you have him on? Because he has something to say, and it's important. How he says it, I mean, you can judge for whatever he says. It's important what he says. You believe it or not believe it, at least you know his opinion when you're done. There's no doubt of where he's at on this. With Dr. Stuckerberger, you can see that hers is, talking about the significance of tribunals, making people be accountable for their actions. And Anders, we've done, I mean, if you go back through the 556 interviews and podcasts that I've done in the last three years that I've posted here, you'll find at least 12 of those with Anders and us letting everybody know what's going on in Denmark, what's going on in UK, what's going on in Canada, what's going on, because we can't trust VARs. VARs is not keeping accurate information. But what the United States does really well is they keep track of live births and they keep track of deaths.
Yeah.
So they can't walk away from that.
And just real quick, that Anders on that show, yeah, those graphs right there, Robert, those showing basically how much people are on their phone and how close they are to the towers is the number 2 factors that really change and alter the comorbidity rate. He basically got the information compiled that shows when they release satellites, which means there's going to be more radiation going usually into a higher population area like cities. That's when you see an immediate spike in the comorbidity rate. So it's like people in the rural areas and people that are not on their phone as much show a healthier, less reactive, at least with the comorbidity rate. And it's amazing how you guys put out, I'm an evidence guy. I don't dig any of this kind of assumptions, claims, saying how things are, but we don't really have proof. I'm into looking at anecdotal data, following the numbers and making our way back from there. And he did it incredible on that show.
We take it all the way back, in some cases into the 1998. We go through 2002 all the way up to 2012, and from 2012 all the way up to 2012 up to 2023. And you really have to do that because as the technology is rolling out, you can see where the spikes are. So what they were calling swine flu was not swine flu. And what they were calling polio was not really polio. And what they were calling Spanish flu was not Spanish flu. HIV is not HIV. Ebola is not Ebola. It's all tied to technology that's being released at that particular time. And I put this right here. Chart of radio frequency. I just added this. That's a habit I have. I'm sorry. If you've read it once, you have to go back after a few days and pick this stuff up. Because when you look at the centuries, 1800s, telegraph lines, reports mass sickness from electricity. 89, 1904, 1950. Here's the Spanish flu epidemic. Here again, caused by what? A virus? No virus. They didn't even know the word virus. Virus only came into existence in the 60s.
Wow.
It wasn't even being used. These were all bacterial infections. We didn't have the ability to see beyond, into the nano ranges. So Epstein-Barr, 1963, U.S. Office of Spectrum Management assigns radio frequency band allocations. It's all tied to technology going on. It's all listed here for you folks.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe unless you want to. I mean, I still believe in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and it's kind of nice to think that maybe that's real, but we know the truth. Viruses is an entity used by bad people to exercise unrighteous dominion over them. That's what happens. When man or a woman ends up getting power or authority over others, they immediately begin exercising unrighteous dominion. Immediately. And that's what's going on here. So I think, this is a very good chart for you to review too. This was one of the charts, detailed analysis of natural process of blood cell degeneration, emphasizing the corona effect and the spike protein effect. This is the corona effect. This is the spike protein. It's all endogenously created by a change in the environment. That's why it's very important for you to test the pH of your urine every day, because when you're testing your urine, you're testing the interstitial fluids, which are the fluids around the cell. Urine is a product of interstitial fluid. Interstitial fluid is the fluid contained in the largest organ of the human body, which is called the interstitium. I learned about it in the 80s from my German professor. It's called the colloidal connective tissue of the Schad. And this organ is larger, of course, than the skin. Skin is not the largest organ in the human body. So you can read this. Now, what I did to help people is I added this. This was published. The work was done in 21, began in February of 21. March was eventually published in July of 26. I kept adding to it and adding to it. This is the shortened version. But if you put this title, if you go to the top here, Scientific Post, you go to Scientific Post and in search, you put this title, Scanning and Transmission Electron Microscopy Reveals Graphene, you'll get a 120-page article. It's been seen by 1.5 million people, been read. It was the first declaration of graphene in the world. It was then validated by La Quinta Columna and other scientists that showed up in other parts of the world. But there's only about 2 or 3 of us that actually did the the hard stuff on this, and that was the scanning and transmission microscopy, and using, you know, the spectroscopy to identify the actual elements that were showing up in the vials and now in the blood. This explains all this. You can watch it all. And tomorrow, I'm doing a conversation with a podcast that we're doing, and Anders is going to be on that podcast with me. And so we'll be talking about all-cause mortality. Now, it's hard to talk about all-cause mortality and include every country. So yes, we're going to talk about LA, we're going to talk about Manhattan. And when you look at that graph, you know, and you see at the bottom of that graph that I was showing you, which is very important, when you're looking at this, where did it go? I know it was here. Where did we put it? Here. This green line is the more concentrated population. So this is in the city of Manhattan, New York City, and you see where the spikes are. You see, this thing really went up. Where if you're taking the blue line here again, we're talking about, you know, overall a 60% increased mortality, excess mortality, versus 130 to 100, close to 140% increase. This is really determined by the fact of increased coverage, increased exposure to these cell towers that are emitting. And that was the problem in Wuhan. Wuhan, they had constructed over 10,000 cell towers in that city, and they flipped that on and people started dropping over. That was after they received their flu vaccine, which I've been told was contaminated with graphene. So you're going to get that information there. But if you want to go back and get some of the presentations, and they are long, if you go back through here. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you know Mike Eden, but he made some comments about my work, and he said that I didn't know until after the fake pandemic that the virology was a lie. I mean, he's a virologist. He was vice president of Pfizer International. And this is one of my peers that says nice things about my work. So I thought you might want to know that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't flip anybody, they flip themselves. He doesn't believe in the viral theory anymore. I mean, that's incredible for someone that was in that world for so many, many years. But if you go down and look at all this biotechnology hacking being used to achieve 13 out of 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals, very important articles. Zombie blood and genocidal apocalypse, very important. You know, how to protect yourself from directed energy weapons. Yeah, the tinfoil hat does work, believe it or not.
Yep.
If you want to know, is there any evidence? Here again, there is no evidence of existence for any virus that has ever been purified and isolated. But we'll get here to Anders here in just a second.
When you do get the chance to investigate and analyze MasterPeace underneath the electron microscope, I hope that whatever you can help guide me with further, because the goal here is to make the most effective tool to
Yeah.
help people. And so we haven't gotten that analysis yet from that level. I don't think there's anybody else that would actually be able to give that to us that actually understands zeta potential and all the things that go into making a formula. So hopefully you'll
Well, we
you know,
haven't seen a lot of work, electron microscopy only coming out of California and also coming out of Sevilla, Spain. This is Anders' work, excess radiation poisoning in all major cities of California. Here are charts after charts after charts that we've quantified. The bird flu? No. Electromagnetic pollution killed millions of birds in Norway worldwide. Telephasesis means the self-assembly. You want to see how this graphene self-assembles itself? You can watch it there. Let's see, but it goes on and on. I just wanted to introduce you to some of this. As you go through it, you'll find more and more information on blood giving birth to spike protein, to the self-assembly, live observation of graphene oxide dots being adsorbed and absorbed into a nanofiber.
yes.
This one here, the elephant in the room, this is a Trypanosoma cruzi parasite. It's covered with graphene oxide. There's Anders, a picture of him right there. Okay, so this is the virus narrative versus the EMF. Very important article. I'm not even sure I talk much in it. Maybe I do. I don't know. I can't remember. Doesn't matter.
Awesome.
Graphene dots. This is in the live blood.
Oh.
All kinds, microfilaria, parasites, 95% in all COVID vaccinated. That's why ivermectin works. Takes out that contributing factor. I think you got the idea. So do you have any other questions you would like to ask me?
Let's see. Is there any questions? What is your take on I don't know, I guess you don't want to do that, but if you had to summarize so far what you've seen with the formula aspect of it, what does it in terms of a nano formulation with the charge that which is zeta potential, the particle range? I do know we want to make the zeolite 1 to 50 nanometers before we add it into the marine plasma, because the marine plasma ions jump all over it and make it about 4 or 5 times bigger of a particle size. So, and then it changes the zeta charge, so it looks like about the same charge as a healthy human body. But what is your take just on what it looks like to you in terms of possible implications? I know it can change if you see something different later on.
Well, here again, I'm at the beginning of this, and I need more material, and I'm happy to make a contribution to research to get it. You know, I mean, you can do whatever you want with the money, but I do want to be able to get people on this, you know, and do before and afters. You know, and of course, there are people willing to do this, and some of them have some very serious challenges, and this can be quantified, it can be measured. So I expect good results from that, based on the preliminary numbers that you already have. So yeah, I need a little stash of probably 20 bottles of this stuff, you know, that I can start working with it, and I don't, you know, I know that money right now is scarce for pretty much everyone. Just want to make sure that we give back on that. So I'm happy to contribute to whatever price you think that you can work with on that. That's kind of off the cuff, but since you brought it up, I feel but to answer your question, I feel very comfortable about what I'm seeing based upon our conversation, based upon also your work with the other scientists, and and I was very, very happy to hear the pH and the ORP of the marine plasma, and then the technical aspects of how you introduced this nanotechnology, and the ultimate size. I don't know if I heard 50 or if I heard 15 nanometers.
Well, we want to zeolite, as we understand it, looks like it loses its cage structure and effectiveness once you start getting underneath like 1 nanometer, or at least somewhere underneath 1 nanometer, I guess I should say. So we aim to get the zeolite down to 1 to 50 nanometers, because then when you actually take that bare zeolite particle and introduce it with the marine plasma ions grab onto it, and the particle sizes go up to about 50 to 250 nanometers, which is the sweet spot when it comes to intracellular.
That's probably the crystallization that I'm seeing, is that,
yeah,
but because I did pick some of that up.
Yeah. You should see the marine plasma ions kind of sew around the zeolite that it looks a little cloudy on the outside of it. And that whole, we wanted to keep that entire particle size 250 nanometers and smaller, just so it still can get inside the cell and do its little, cation exchange and all this little magic stuff.
That's about this. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing, about 2.5 microns. Yeah. Somewhere around 2 to 3. Some of them get larger than that, but
yeah,
they're less than most of it's less than the size of a red blood cell, which is about 7 microns, and but there's a lot of it at one micron, and some of it gets into the millimicrons.
Yeah.
So into
I
the
used
nanosize.
to, when I was doing the formula, because at first it was just specifically designed to be an intercellular kind of thing, intracellular. And so I would basically, the way I'd leave the formula at the end, it would get rid of the bigger particle sizes. And now I thought, well, that's silly. Why wouldn't I just keep that in there? And so now when people have their bottles and we describe on it just to tap it and kind of recharge it. But now we leave it all in there. So when you look underneath there, you should say a decent amount still above, 0.3 micron. And a wide range. We want a wide range of a lot of marine plasma with the zeolite. Yeah.
Hey, whatever works.
Heck yeah. It's funny because Michael Coe, when he talks about formulations, he said sometimes we don't really know why it's working, but it's working so good you run with it. And that's kind of funny. He's not talking about very good things usually.
Yeah, it depends on what side of that issue you're on, or
right.
what side of
right.
Yeah. So, if you're doing good for people or not. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. That's right. Anything else?
No, I don't think so. No. We there is one person, Sharon.
Hi. Someone in the chat is bringing up an issue. I was wondering if you could address. It's regarding ivermectin, and basically saying ivermectin is proven toxic, cell toxic, genotoxic, kills in vivo info, and anyway, he gives a reference of Tim Truth on Rumble.
Based on the toxicity tests, I haven't seen anything to give that. I mean, it's been around for decades, and I haven't read anything negative about ivermectin other than what they were trying to do is stop people from using it. They started promoting it as a toxic compound, and why would you be taking something that was designed for an animal, which is really not the case. I mean, it's given to humans, for parasite problems and has been for years. So ivermectin in the hands of bad people, here again, they can put whatever they want in there and package it and sell it to you. So there is that potential risk that ivermectin has been graphinated. You know, there is that risk. I have not done those studies though, so I really can't speak to that. But I would not, I would really not go down that road. I would rather go to something more natural, and that would be Korean red pine needle oil. And I would use that in replace of ivermectin. Uh, for the hydroxychloroquine, which or quinine, you know, there's several natural things that you can use to raise the pH of the interstitial fluid, such as sodium potassium bicarbonate, which is natural. It's made by the stomach every second, every minute of the body's life. Managing and maintaining the alkaline design should be done with a compound that the stomach makes, which is a form of bicarbonate, sodium or potassium. So this is something natural. It's not foreign to the body, and should be used. I mean, even Alka-Seltzer Gold is better than nothing. But here again, do you trust the company that's making it? But if you can get pharmaceutical grade sodium and potassium bicarbonate, you know, pH Miracle Products sells it. It's called 4 salts. That's good. That's a good thing. You can use that in combination with the drops here. I think it's a great combination. Master, did I say that right? MasterPeace.
Yeah.
That this is a MasterPeace. This.
Yeah.
This MasterPeace. This is a MasterPeace. I think it's been labeled correctly. It's been labeled correctly. I would not hesitate, based on what I know right now of the product, based on the study, the preliminary studies, based on my viewing the product, I would not hesitate to recommend it to someone.
Thank you for
And
that.
I'm not saying that because I've been paid to say it, full disclosure. I'm saying that because I'm only telling you what I feel and think and what I've seen so far. Do I need to do further research? Absolutely. You know, and I intend to do that over the next few weeks and few months. It's a process, not an event. But congratulations to Matt in setting up a platform whereby at a distribution form a company to be able to distribute this product so that it can get into the hands of everyone that needs it. And guess what? That's everyone. Everyone. But you've got so many arrows in your bag that you can pull from, and it can be natural. So for parasites, it's red pine needle oil. You don't use much, just a few drops in 4 ounces of distilled water. Montmorillonite clay rather than bentonite clay is a great chelator. Another thing that would support with this nanotechnology, once you put it under the tongue, it's into the interstitial fluid. It doesn't go down. You don't put it down into your stomach. There's really no need to do that. So it's in the interstitial fluid. It'll travel to its opposite polarity. It'll go where it needs to go. It doesn't need to be tagged. It will be attracted to those hot spots of graphene. They'll literally attract it. And once it attracts and once it links up, it's been neutralized. Not destroyed, it's been neutralized.
Right. Right.
So what it means is it can no longer do what those who developed this technology had intended. It's been nullified. It's been neutralized.
Doc Russ, do you have a question?
Yeah, I sure do, Mister. Thank you. Dr. Young, can you quantify that the graphene oxide actually has been in our water supply for decades?
I can't say quantify it for decades. I sure can quantify it for the last few years.
Okay.
I have they been putting other things in there like aluminium? I mean, what else have they put into our water supplies? You know, but yeah, we're finding this. Uh, these forever compounds, these chemicals in all of our drinking water. So I'm just wondering if vilinidine dichloride and some of the samples we've tested from back east and also phosgene is in the groundwater. And people need to pay attention. They need to filtrate this out with a nano filtration system. You need to take it out. And if you can't take it out, you're going to have to chelate it out. And of course, distilling is the best way to do that. That's one way to do it. Then run it through some nanofilters and ionization systems and alkalization systems and vortexing and push it through. Try to break up the clustering to get a wetter water, an alkaline water that's been purified and ionized, alkalized, and functionally structured. Those are the four attributes of water. So you can't trust your city water. You cannot trust the lake water, and the fish that are swimming in it. It's not trustworthy. So unfortunately for those who enjoy their steaks and fish, well, it's in their interstitial fluid, so it's in their cells, this technology. So it makes you think twice about it. And don't trust those other non-meat products. I mean, heavens. Oh dear. There's not multiple sicknesses. All these symptoms are of the same source, they're just graduations depending on the severity. The one sickness and the one disease is the overacidification of the blood, then the interstitial fluids due to a inverted or perverted way of living, eating, and thinking. The one health is what is called, well, the pH miracle, which is a natural phenomenon between the cause and effect relationship. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. That's it. It's a law of physics. The one health is managing and maintaining the alkaline design of your internal fluids. You do not have to focus on any disease. Cancer is not a disease. It's a symptom of the one disease. Diabetes is not a disease. It's a symptom of the one. One sickness, one disease, one health. And I would like to give you all a gift for this new year. If you're listening, I have 25 videos on 2 DVDs on one set, 25 on another. Okay, total of 50 interviews. So you can learn and understand the new biology. What is the new biology? It's a new way of living, new way of eating. And what Matt is doing is adding, another quiver to our bags, that's dealing with a problem that didn't exist many, many years ago. Maybe it did, we just weren't aware of it. Okay, but we're aware of it now, and it takes nano thinking to deal with it. And so when I wrote my paper on colloidal chemistry in the 90s and came out with probably the first colloidal nano silver product in the world, all of a sudden that became very, very popular. It still works. It's still helpful, and I've got great hopes for what you all are doing, and you're on the right track, and I would stay on it. But I would like to give those lectures, those interviews to you for free. If you go to my Dr. Robert Young, and this is not a guise to just collect names, I will send you 58, including videos. I'll send you 58 things that you should know about, you should at least consider. I should make it now 59 which I'm going to add eventually. I see myself adding this additional nano product, which will be the MasterPeace, of course. Yeah, which will be the MasterPeace, to, you know, deal with this graphene.
What are your thoughts?
One of my thoughts on urotherapy. Well, hey, you know, if you saw your urine under a microscope, you wouldn't be drinking it. But the bottom line is if it has a pH of 8.4 and an ORP of -80 to -120 millivolts, then you got some great piss. Everybody should be drinking it. But I would use a I'm not saying there's not good things in it, but I would use an ORP meter with a pH meter just to test and make sure that you're hyperperfusing alkalinity, because that's one of the steps to deal with any imbalance, is to hyperperfuse alkalinity into the vascular interstitial fluid. Anything that's greater than 7.365 will be pushed out. So all the excesses, whether it's lower or higher, is going to be pushed out into the interstitium, or the
So you
colloidal
don't
connective
want like
tissue.
too alkaline. Is that what I'm hearing?
You want to look at things like sodium bicarbonate or potassium bicarbonate that are chelators of acids that are running about 8.4. This product, the marine the marine
Plasma with
plasma,
MasterPeace.
thank you. MasterPeace, yes. I'll get it here in a minute. But
You're
the
all right.
marine plasma starts out at a moderately high pH. Rather than ozone, which has to break down to O1, this is why sodium chloride, NaClO2, works so well, because it releases 2 atoms of nascent oxygen. So it's like the reduced zeolite that carries a negative charge, the clay carries a negative charge. This is the way you chelate out this technology.
Can I ask you a question, Robert?
Yes.
We vetted as many marine plasma sources as we could find, and everybody's pretty familiar with Quinton or Quinton. And I can't, their pH, I believe, as I recall, was somewhere like 8.2 or 8.4, but I've always wondered, and I didn't really have anybody that could give me an answer, why the marine plasma that we're getting is like right at 8.8. It might be like 8.78. I have a very good pH device, and what could be the reason why this Ibiza Formentera marine plasma has a little bit higher of a pH than the Quinton's marine plasma?
Well, it may be more concentrated in some of these other elements. I mean, here again, I don't know the answer to your question without looking at it myself. But I'd be happy to test just the pure marine plasma if you send it to me, and just see and validate what you're saying. I'm glad. I wished it was 9.8 or 10. Because then you'd end up with an end product that would be probably even more powerful. But here again, it's kind of like lemons and limes. Lemons and limes test out at 3.8 to 4.2. It's the byproduct. Is this product an electron donor? That's the question. Or is it scavenging electrons? See, that's really why lemons and limes are not acidic, because they donate electrons. They're electron donors. This particular product is an electron donor. It doesn't take electrons. It doesn't scavenge that. But you put something acidic in your body, here again, whatever it is, wherever the source of the beverage, whether it's urine or whether it's pH, saturated 10 or 11, plasma activated water. We have a plasma activation system to raise the pH, to 11 or 12 or 13. And when you get those high concentrations for someone who's really sick, the chelation that takes place, the detox, is too extreme. That's why you have to take just a little bit of amount of this. So I here again, the product is an electron donor. That's how I perceive it, based on the information that the preliminary information that you have from your studies, based on my preliminary research today that I was doing before our discussion here tonight. I was looking at it. I think I took a half a dozen or more pictures. I mean, so I'm working at it. That's, I'm not even close to finish, but I am looking at it. But yes, I would like to test the marine plasma. I don't need a lot. Just a sample. That I can test. If you have access to that, I'm sure you do.
I got a little bit around.
Okay. Here again, that high pH water is just one attribute of the water. It has to be filtered. It has to be functionally structured. 5, molecules per cluster minimum. So it's got to be broken down to a monomolecular state if possible. That's what the plasma activate is, a monomolecular alkaline 9.5 pH purified before it goes through. But that machine is too big. It's more for commercial use. For you, it's some city water department running thousands of gallons through it, or someone who's manufacturing that wants to, start out with the best water, purified water, free of any particulates in it, and at a good high pH. So you can dial that in, but you're also dialing in. You're breaking apart through the process. Plasma activation will break this clustering down, so you're having one H2O molecule. I think I have a picture of that I can show you. It's funny that I remember this. Let me see, because I just put it up. It was something that I did many years ago, because people didn't understand what I was talking about. There it is. See, this is plasma activated water, H2O. This is the ideal water. This is the healing water. This is the water that people can drink by itself and receive a benefit. This is the water that I use and previously used, not now, but previously used in some of my formulation. But the pHs are running from 9.5 to 12.5 with an ORP up to 1250 millivolts. Now the interstitial fluid is at 8.4 at negative 80 millivolts. So you can imagine, if you're drinking this water, the electrical magnetic attraction that would take place. But the whole idea is to take this molecular clustering and break it down to its monomolecular state. Yeah. See, here's another picture of it. Typical water, 10 to 24 molecules per cluster. After ionization, plasma activation, 1 to 5 molecules per cluster. That's always been my goal with water. It's not just about pH. It's about structure too.
Yeah.
So
in MasterPeace, just to break in just for a quick second, it comes from structured. The gentleman David, he shows me, and a gentleman named Paul on the thing, his big vortexer. But when we get it, we use a water vortex magnetizer for each step, and then we use an analemma wand to go back the other way. So it's double, or possibly should be tripled structured. And that's a big part of what we do. So the whole formula is structured.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for allowing me to share with you tonight. Thanks, Matt, and keep
Thank
up
you.
all the good work, and
Oh, it's a
God bless
team.
you with safety and protection
Thank you.
and sweet dreams tonight, okay?
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Robert, very much for your time here. So
You're welcome.
perfect. I'm gonna stay on for a few minutes. If anybody, I've seen a couple questions. I just didn't want to address them. We were looking at, and you're okay, Robert, if you want to stick around, if you want to go. But the iTerra one, the whole information I got with the iTerra one comes from Carolyn Mansfield, and what her and the other live blood analysis experts that were doing the analysis in the COVID vaccine injury clinic, they all realized together that it was that when you're putting the iTerra wand on the blood, that it would send all this replicating stuff kind of in the hyperdrive. And so now we do use it on the final formula to charge it and structure it a little bit more, and give what the iTerra is in there. There's no way that we can really test to see if it's helping, but we believe everything matters, so we do it. But I would definitely put the iTerra wand on your liquids before you drink them. You know, you got the device; it's still sitting right there. You know, but that's where that information came from. Awesome. Does anybody? Oh, sorry. Does anybody have any questions or anything at all? Did I'm sure I missed stuff. Matt, Nikki, anybody want to help me out?
I can just announce that to everyone that we are going to be putting out this in, video format in a way that we'll edit out a few of the lulls in conversation or whatever, but it will be out for everyone to listen and watch as soon as I can get it done. That's a long one. So, and
Yeah.
I'll like piece it a little bit to put out some sound bites, but yeah, so everyone will get their recording.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, it means a lot with him having the capability that he's had. It kind of gets me excited that we have some electron microscope images now of MasterPeace that we'll be looking forward to getting. And it sounded like it was obviously promising. Robert is very reserved with everything in terms of talking about a new product and what we're doing here today. And so it sounded to me like he might have went on did some analysis before he jumped on this call that he knew was going to have a decent amount of people on there, and sounded promising with what he's seen, which obviously it would be. So it's just
I can
neat.
make another.
Yes, please.
What were you gonna say?
No, please.
We decided to do this just recently, and it's in play now. Because we have so many on the call, just make an announcement that we are really trying to get I should say it this way. We are moving over to Rumble for the most part. We're still going to have a YouTube channel, but we've been trying to get our Rumble channel up and going for a little while now. And now is a really good time to do it with some back end stuff we had going on. So we are uploading all of our, all except 11 videos that actually had to come down. So we as a team decided that we needed to take some down just for our own safety. So we're going to be putting the rest of those on Rumble. Matt Senna is in charge of that right now. And so he's going to be uploading them. That is going to be our go-to channel. So anything that we post on our threads and just pretty much out there in the socials is going to be the Rumble channel. I'm not sure if you need an account for Rumble to see that. I don't think you do. I think to comment, you probably need an account. But at any rate, we all know YouTube sucks. And we have to protect our videos. Really, if you have two channels, it's protected. So we're going to still keep YouTube because there's an audience over there. But YouTube channel is different. It's had to be redone. And so we need you to subscribe again if you want to get those videos over there, but we really won't be posting those videos on our threads, but we'll always give you the option to do either or. So that's in the works. So you don't have access to all our videos today, maybe not tomorrow, but pretty soon.
Awesome.
And just to add to that, Terry,
the worst case, if even all of them took us down, Rumble, you name it, I have decentralized storage to where I can always get videos put on that they cannot censor us and take us off. So just to let everyone know, we will not and cannot be taken down.
And that's in our future, right, Paul? I forgot about that. Is that the
Yep.
that is
Yep.
what's going to happen eventually? Okay, perfect.
100% from our website all the way to the videos and all that. And that's the way the world is going. We're switching in two different parallel time frames here that is going to be launched. And they want people on the centralized new digital tracking system. But there are men and women in the backfight who realize this, and many things will be decentralized, and there will be options and opportunities. So the reason why I say that on the technical side, fear not. They just make sure everyone's health and mind is in the right place. And we got to get to the other side. And that's why I know MasterPeace is a very big boat, if you want to call it, to get to the other side. Because once we do, it's going to be a beautiful world for the men and women who are walking in truth. Much love.
Yeah, and with that, that's beautiful.
Paul,
Oh,
so sorry, Nikki. Just before Paul, before you get away, just because a lot of people keep asking about Mastery Store, and Mastery Store will not be available for order until it's on the new website. And not to hold your, like, not to push or anything, but what does it look like in terms of time frame for the new website to be up and rocking, where people will be able to order Mastery Store and Master Plasma?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Great question. I'm actually pushing hard for the next couple weeks. So the design is done. The new build is is almost done. It's literally just some bugs that the team's got to work out. After that, it's going to be connecting it to the existing system so that all the existing affiliates and all that. So long story short, I'm looking at approximately 2 weeks. Hopefully, if I can push it before that, with proper testing and whatnot, we can launch within 2 weeks. The worst case, I may need 1 more week after that, but yeah, that's the time frame.
Awesome.
There's
a question. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say one more thing, piggybacking off of what Paul was saying. So yeah, moving forward with this all these new parallel systems we're building, we all want to support that, and part of that is to try to be patient, as because things are going to be kind of awkward and wonky in different ways while we're trying. Let's just say we're going to the new platforms, and maybe it's not as convenient. Believe me, I love my YouTube. I open my YouTube all the time. I'm watching stuff on there, so it might take an extra couple steps, but for the big picture, if we want to support all the men and women that are building all these new systems, trying to get ourselves in a safer place individually as well as company wide, and just all of our projects that we're doing as part of mankind's moving forward, it might take a little bit of efforts and a little bit of patience as we get all these systems set up. And so that's what we're trying to do at HCS. And always, every day, we're talking about the best way to move these systems forward. And so, be patient with us as we're trying to move through some of this stuff. We love your support so far, and it really does help us. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah, and absolutely for people who are concerned if Zoom ever takes us out, or they don't want freedom of speech spoken on these. We've already, my team has been the last 2+ years working on our own platform. We are in beta testing right now, so we are going to move to that platform. Like today, congratulations to everyone. We maxed out at 100, so that was beautiful to see. And our new platform will have literally infinite that we can scale up. So it's coming very soon. Lots of amazing stuff here. So just wanted to share that too.
I just don't want us to forget about John.
I just want to know if you can help me. We mentioned those links for the calls on during the week, and I don't know how to access those links, or where can I access them for those calls?
It'll be the same link, sir. You just need the schedule, which is on our Telegram, and I'm going to post that right in the chat right now. So same exact link as you found tonight. It's the perpetual Zoom link.
I don't have Telegram.
Yeah, pardon. We got it on our Facebook, our Instagram. Here, I'll post the schedule.
Is it on your website? Is it on your website?
Yeah, our website is really limited still. That's why Paul's work is so critical. So let me just get you hooked up in the chat right now, and Thank you for your flexibility.
Yeah.
It's always on the emails too that we send out for reminder calls. As long as you have an account with us and you haven't unsubscribed from our emails, the links are always there on our reminder emails, right before the calls.
Yeah.
Does that help?
I've only got the one call for this call, but I've never seen another call, so I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah, so they should go out weekly, and they do because I receive them. So my calls are almost weekly, and so we usually just send out one for that because it is weekly, and some people don't like getting all the emails. So you should have been getting one for the holistic health calls, which are now the new health paradigm calls, and then you'll get for the monthly town hall, which is what we're doing today. Actually, you'll get a few reminders, maybe 3. I think we're down to now for this call.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
But it'll be the same exact link that you used today to access it. You really just need the schedule of when the next health call is. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, guys. I really enjoyed this call. It's very informative, and you guys put on a good program tonight, and I really appreciate it. All the questions, and we got a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Yes. Thanks for everybody's time here, everybody's energy and focus. This is a large tribe. This is a lot bigger than the few people that initially started with their time and energy on it. Now it's a collective force, and it's making a difference. People are feeling better than they felt in a long time. We're getting amazing actual results from taking blood work and measuring all these things. It's actually a first and only of its kind type medical study. Nobody is aware of another place that has actually done this, right? Isn't it simple? We want to know what it's going to take to get out all these things that we know are not good for us. And we seeked out to kind of get a dosing protocol and a proper protocol, effective protocol that was going to work. And the really neat thing about it is it's highly affordable. It's super safe. This is I feel, at least, and this is just an opinion, I'm not making a claim, I feel it's the gentlest, strongest, most effective protocol, and it's made for us. So I just couldn't be more excited that we're all a part of this together at this point. This is grand. So there's peace and blessings to everybody. And
There's another question, Matthew. Do you mind if I answer it from the chat?
Oh yeah, of course. I didn't see it.
Oh no worries. The question is, do you have any resources I can use for promoting this in the UK? Your webinars are too late for our time zone. So we do record our town halls, the last couple at least. And so those can be used as resources. We have, I think, over 30 still video, or maybe that was before I had to delete a bunch of them, but at least 20, I'd say at this point, 25 videos that are interviews of Matt with different platforms, different ads and commercials we've made, all kinds of stuff that are going to be on our Rumble. I do have health calls, 2 of them on Sundays that are not late. So I am gearing my times around all of the time zones. So for instance, a lot of people like Friday nights, and it's not fair if I do them all on Friday nights. So I'm doing 2 Friday nights and then 2 Sundays earlier in the day. So you'd be able to make in the UK at least 1 live call a month. So, and then our website's coming out in 2 or 3 weeks. That's going to be a huge resource for new people. A lot of information on our new website. Everything is explained there. That in and of itself is going to be a huge resource. So I just wanted to mention that.
Totally. Absolutely. That website looks amazing, but I like how it explains to people what nano really means, and the whole thing really. What we've all put together here is amazing, totally magical for the benefit of all of us. Alrighty, guys, we're gonna close up shop. It's been a long one. Thank you so much for being here.
Much love you all.
Yes, very much.
Much love.